As I've been always saying, crime syndicates thrive in a country where government itself is questionable. Coming up. Well, South Africa has ultimately allowed more than 150 Palestinian airline passengers to disembark after they were kept on a plane for almost 12 hours by the country's border police.
Yesterday we had a plane of 160, we're carrying 160 Palestinians landing at OR Tambo. And these are people from Gaza who somehow mysteriously were put on a plane that passed by Nairobi and came here. And I got to hear about it from my Minister of Home Affairs, wanting to know what do we do now. And I said, we cannot turn them back. Even though they do not have the necessary documents and papers, these are people from a strife-torn, a war-torn country. And out of compassion, out of empathy, we must receive them and be able to deal with the situation that they are facing. And it does seem like they were being, flushed out. We will get the details later, but from a humanitarian point of view, we could not return them from whence they have come. And we had to accept them, and they are now here, and we are going to be processing everything about them and then deciding precisely what needs to be done. The management authority was fully seized with this matter, and they were in full control of the situation. And I'm not concerned that there will be loopholes and holes left for anybody to come through. This one we did because it was a different and special case of a people that we have supported as a country. People who have been put under a great deal of suffering and stress. So we are just at the beginning of processing everything. We will process their presence here and we will then make an announcement. The issue of the Palestinians who have been brought here is a matter, as I said, that we're paying attention to. We obviously need to look at the origins, where it started, the reason why they've been brought here. And ordinarily we would have said they should go back because they didn't have any documentation. But out of empathy, out of compassion, and because they are a people that we as South Africa have raised our hands to support, we felt that we should accept them and process their matter. So their matter is being processed, we are discussing it. Our intelligence agencies involved, and the Home Affairs is involved, and DERCO is also involved. So we're going to do a proper evaluation and see what the future portends when it comes to this. So we will be dealing with it, and as I said, we will make an announcement so that the people of South Africa know precisely what is happening and how this matter came to be where it is.
Okay, my major concern in all these guys, it's not the 153 or 160 Palestinians who landed in South Africa. I think those ones, they are just victims. Landing in South Africa was not their choice. All right, they just opened the plane and they realized, bam, they were in South Africa. They didn't even know that they were headed for South Africa. They didn't even know that they were being flown to South Africa in the first place. But my focal point is on our national security. Are you trying to tell me that an unidentified plane entered our international space, not recognized, and there was no interception from our intelligence, or at least our military intelligence, and they actually landed at OR Tambo unidentified? Are you trying to tell me that a plane that is, number one, not even on our flight plan, right? To say, no, this is a plane that's flying from Kenya or from wherever that is entering South Africa. Unidentified plane enters our international airspace to a point where they land to our international airport without any interception from our intelligence. Guys, we're in trouble. Guys, we're in trouble. Guys, we are in serious trouble in South Africa. That's a serious breach of security. In other countries, any country, Russia, USA, any country you can think of, the moment you enter the international airspace, you are asked to recognize yourself. Who are you? You have entered our space here. Who are you? Failure of which, if your study doesn't add up, you can either be shot down, the whole plane can either be shot down while still airborne. It could either be shot down or it could be accompanied by our SADF or whatever the intelligence we have in our country, accompany the plane into a rightful place, but not allowing them to land in our airport, our international airport, or our international airport, without them being recognized who they are. Guys, this is a huge security blunder. What if they had nuclear bombs? We could have been one off by now as we speak. What if they carried some diseases? The moment they walked out of the plane, then the disease just boom, wipe out the whole of South Africa. Those are international threat, guys. And what concerns me also is that other countries are watching all this, especially the countries that don't like us. They can see all these loopholes. That means now South Africa is vulnerable. They know our vulnerability spots. They know that South Africa, you can actually just drop any disease, any bomb in there. They won't even pick it up. That is my major concern. And guess what? When they land at OR International Airport, mysteriously, our media is there. Our mainstream media is there. And, of course, our NGOs, the gift of the givers, are there to provide them with the help they need. Why would you be at the airport if you didn't know that, if you're not expecting a certain plane? Why were you at the airport? We only wait for somebody that we know that he is coming. And if you ask me, this has got Cyril Ramaphosa written all over it. Listen to this.
In terms of the airline, having sent the manifest, etc., there are other background, like you have to have landing rights, etc. You have to inform the tower where you're coming from, what your flight plan is, etc. So all of that should have been in place before the people arrived in the Republic.
Right.
And then we know from there onwards what happened. They were not allowed to disembark.
So, Ashraf, I mean, with all of these flags that you are flagging at the moment, I mean, with the advanced passengers manifest, which they had to have done with the landing with the airport. We also know that first flight that landed on the 28th of October, it's alleged that those passengers also did not have an exit stamp from the country that they were coming from. What would you then deduce the situation to have been? Did South Africa really not know that these flights were coming into the country?
Well, I think South Africa knew the flights were coming into the country. And the first one might have been a test, because these people say, they give a very harrowing story of how, they had to leave and go to apparently a military air base to be flown out of Ramon. I'm not sure if that's correct. And then from Ramon onwards to Nairobi, and from Nairobi to SA. But it's really not really a mystery. I think there's a lot of cover-up going on, and I don't know who's doing the cover-up. But certainly the fact that there was a previous flight and they were admitted as visitors for 90 days Well, that was the trial and test run. So we would have been prepared. We would have known, as we know from visitors from all over the world, whether any country gives a physical exit stamp or there's a digital exit stamp. In South Africa, when you land here, they give you a physical entry stamp and exit stamp. As we know, the Border Management Agency has upgraded those to prevent fraud, etc. So we know exactly from the stamp when you arrived and who was authorized to let you into the country. So I think it begs the question, how can it be that the authorities should know that there's no physical exit stamp given by A, B, and C countries and not demand that as a means of entry into the Republic?
And let's listen to Al Jazeera here.
A group of more than 150 Palestinians left Gaza, which requires crossing the so-called Yellow Line. That's an area under Israeli military control that covers all crossings in and out of the Gaza Strip. They were taken through Karim Abu Salem by bus to Ramon International Airport in southern Israel. That's where they boarded a flight transiting through Nairobi, Kenya, before landing in Johannesburg, South Africa on Thursday morning. The group was initially denied entry for not having Israeli departure stamps in their passports. The civil society coalition, which has been assisting the Palestinians, has told Al Jazeera that it's clear an organization called Al-Majd Europe is behind the transfer. It's estimated all Palestinians on board the flight were charged between $1,500 to $5,000 to leave Gaza. We've also been informed those choosing to leave were only allowed to carry their mobile phones, money, and a backpack. Al Jazeera's Famida Miller has this report from Johannesburg.
Fleeing the war and devastation in Gaza, a group of more than 150 Palestinians has reached what they hoped would be safety. But on their arrival in Johannesburg, they were denied entry. South Africa's Border Management Authority said none of the passengers had the required departure stamps in their passports. For hours, the group remained on the tarmac at OR Tambo International Airport without food, water or adequate air circulation until the decision was overturned. About 120 entered South Africa, while others flew on to other countries. Naim Jinnah from the Civil Society Coalition, which has been assisting the refugees, tells us they had boarded a bus in Gaza, crossed through the Karim Shalom crossing and were taken to Ramon Airport before flying to South Africa via Kenya.
Well, it's clear who's behind this. It's an organization called Al-Majd Europe. They have relations with the Israelis and suspected relations with the Shabak, the Israeli intelligence services. All of the people who were on the plane and the previous plane signed up on a website and paid anything between $1,500 to $5,000 per person to get out.
Wissam Bashir arrived in South Africa 2 weeks ago on a similar chartered flight. He says was arranged through Al-Majd Europe after he registered online. He paid $6,000 for himself, his wife and their 2 children. He says they were allowed to leave with only the clothes they were wearing, their passports and their phones.
We in Gaza, we do not want to leave. It's our land and it's where we grew up. But the Israeli occupation forced us to leave indirectly, when you are denied food and water, when they kill the old and the young, imprison men and women, bomb houses, destroy everything. It becomes normal to try to leave, to protect myself and my kids.
The South African government says it will investigate how an unregistered organization arranged the travel.
Those who are here have indicated that they would want to apply for asylum here. They haven't done so officially, but the South African government has pledged to assist them as far as possible.
And for many like Wissam, remaining safe is a priority. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
Anthony Lowenstein is the author of The Palestine Laboratory, a book about Israel's arms and surveillance industry. He says these operations didn't just happen overnight, as they require both Israeli permission and that of the destination countries involved.
It's interesting that South Africa was the apparently final destination, considering South Africa is one of the most pro-Palestine countries on the planet, certainly after it tried to push for a case the International Criminal Court against Israel for crimes of genocide. There are so many weird unanswered questions about this. The website for the company itself is incredibly strange, almost created by AI. The faces, there's not really any names, there's no any associations. So it's hard not to think of this.
And of course, clearly, another thing is this, the Israelis are hitting back at South Africa. As you know, that South Africa has taken Israelis to court. So that's why our security could have been, should have been very careful, because you may find that, because this plane clearly was arranged by Israelis using some not even registered flight company to fly them to South Africa. You may find that those Palestinians are all criminals. And just Israelis saying, yeah, back at you, South Africans. Now you see my major concern here, guys, when it comes to security, our national security. Clearly, our government knew about this plane, but they are playing all dumb. They are just so shocked, just like all of us. Anyway, those are my suspicions, guys. I don't know what to think about this. Let me hear your comment below. And of course, if you are coming for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.